If I could rapidly review where we've come to in this series, we said that there are 3 stair steps to developing and overcoming faith. One is that you have to recognize the voice of God when you hear it. Come. The second thing is that you have to walk by faith and not by sight, not by what you see, but by what you don't see. Then we said last week, we talked about the issue of obedience. That sometimes you don't feel like doing anything. You don't feel like getting up. You don't feel like standing up. You don't feel like putting on a happy face. You feel like going back to bed. But the key is obeying the voice of God and walking by faith, whatever the circumstance. Our germinal idea today, and this is a teaching message, whenever Jesus calls someone to get out of the boat, he gives them the power to walk on the water. Listen, whenever you hear the voice of God on any issue that you are called out to do, remember that God will not call you out and leave you helpless. He already knows if he called you out, he will give you what you need to handle where you're going. Everybody in here is being called to do something for God. God will never call you out and then leave you to drown. And if we can develop the kind of faith that just believes God at his word, but I'm going to go back just a minute, just be sure that it's God's voice. The trustability comes based on the confidence that you have that it is his voice. If it is the word of God, you never have to worry about whether or not he will keep you where he is leading you. The only time you have to worry is if you don't have discernment to know whether it's the voice of God or the voice of the enemy. If it is the voice of God, you can stand there, and after having stood, you can stand some more, and he will prop you up on every leaning side. There was a woman in our church who's the second oldest member of our congregation. She lived to be 96. She just died a few weeks ago. Her name was Neveline Ridley. Neveline taught me many a lesson out of one phrase. Every time I would go down this center aisle at the end of church, for 42 years, she'd be 3-4 seats from the aisle. That's where she liked to sit. She'd jump out to greet me at 96, and at 95, at 90, at 85, and 80. And she would say, looking me straight in the eye, "Pastor, straight ahead." Now, she did not know what I was going through. Sometimes I would be disheartened, discouraged, depressed. But that straight ahead put starch in my spine. And it reminded me that no matter what the circumstance, what the situation, there is a God. And that I just simply need to not look to the left or the right, but to look straight ahead. And whatever I do, don't look down.